Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 7, or as they say in Austria, The Flash Season 7. So we have DC fandom this weekend, and we're looking forward to it, with it being 2 days when this video goes up, that, it's going to be coming out. However, on the day I'm making this, which will be about a day before you see it, there has been a bit of a shake-up, quite the shake-up. With the event now being split into two separate events or days. I guess it's still DC fandom, it's just over 2 different days. And it's not Saturday and Sunday, it's a bit different. Now, all the movies and video game related stuff will still be coming this weekend, so in a couple of days. But the majority, and when I say majority, I don't mean like, 6 out of 11 or 7 out of 11. Pretty much every single thing DC TV related and other panels such as like comic related panels as well is moving to September 12th. Just over 3 weeks away from now, but 3 weeks after the initial DC fandom event. Now, the Flash TV panel, as well as the Titans panel, will still be on this weekend, so no issue. Now, they are the only 2 TV panels staying on this weekend. There is also a Harley Quinn thing, but that's separate from their actual show's panel, if that makes sense. So we're still getting the Season 7 trailer for the Flash week this weekend. We don't have to wait another 3 weeks like some stuff for the other shows. Now, the reason it's Flash and Titans, I've seen people going, oh, why is it Flash and Titans? Why isn't it Doom Patrol and Stargirl or something like that? I think most of you would know this, but the Flash and Titans are the 2 most popular DC TV shows. It's the most people watch them worldwide, so it makes sense that they'd include those 2 shows in with all the big movie related stuff. So that makes sense. All the other shows just don't reach the viewership of Flash and Titans. Now, there has been some talk going around that information will be released after certain panels through interviews with various sites that wouldn't have been discussed in the panels, or they might have gone over them quickly, and then the interview will dive deeper into that thing as well as some other questions as well. Now, I'm not sure if that is 100% true. It sounds like it makes sense because if you look at some of the panels, especially the movie side, some of them are 10 minutes. So you'd think they'd want to dive deeper if they are making this big event thing. But I do know personally that there will be an interview with Eric Wallace, the showrunner for The Flash, on discussingfilm.net over the next few days. That will be fairly interesting, so I will be sure to report on that when it does drop. Maybe not as soon as it comes out, because I think it's going to be dropping around Fandom, but in the next couple of days after, we'll go over it, and I'm sure there'll be some interesting things. But yeah, along with that trailer that we're going to be getting in that Flash Season 7 panel, I'm sure we'll get some information about the upcoming Season 7 of The Flash, which hopefully gets us excited for, for what is to come. But recently there has been a few other little interviews with like official trades or podcasts and various things like that with cast members of The Flash, which do give us some other pieces of information to sort of bite and chew on. Some of which people have been wondering about, like either during the entire past season of The Flash or at least just, since the conclusion of Season 6. So we will go over those, but of course throughout the video, let me know your opinions on them, especially the first one we go over, because I think it is a bit controversial, but still people want to see it at the same time. So I'm curious to see what you guys think around that first one. But yeah, let me know all your various opinions and I guess what you're looking forward to the most from fandom as well in the comments section. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, why not drop a like on it? Greatly appreciated. So TV Line, they're like a usual suspect in regards to the TV stuff. Obviously, their website's called TV Line, but they were asked a question through one of their editorial pieces that they usually do. I think it's like a weekly thing that they do. And they were asked a question about something that was introduced or at least decently teased early on in Season 6 of The Flash. I think it was episode 3 or 4 that never really led anywhere or any way throughout the season, despite earlier teasers from that by Eric Wallace. He said it before the season even started. So of course, as I said, Eric Wallace is the showrunner for The Flash, and it was all connecting to this. So when it came up on the show, it was like, oh, okay, well, Eric Wallace was teasing this before the season even started, but so this is cool. They're going to actually do this later in the season maybe, but come the end of Season 6, they never did it. But Candice Patton, who of course plays Iris West on the show, who was connected to this tease, was asked about this following the question. But here is the question and answer from TV Line. Early in Season 6 of The Flash, Nash Wells detected eternium particles on Iris. Will that come back into play in any way? And this is TV Line's response. I, for one, always thought that what Nash in fact was picking up was the Anti-Monitor's subterranean hideaway below where Iris was standing at the time. But to be safe, I ran you a question by Candice Patton, who said, that's a great question. I remember shooting that and thinking, this is cool. What does that mean? If it means anything, I don't have an answer for that. So it will be interesting to see if we revisit that and see what that little nod was about. Now, I think other people were thinking that it did have something to do with the Anti-Monitor's like hideaway thing, but like they sort of made it clear that it was only being read off Iris. Like, she was the one that was dispersing, I guess you could say, these Eternium particles, and that's what Nash was reading. So it made it seem on the show, at least in that episode, that it was connected straight to Iris, not where Iris was standing, but actually Iris. Now, the thing that happened before season 6, some of you might be able to remember this. If you have, not even if you have a good memory, just if you can just maybe just tap your memory back to that time. But Eric Wallace said that the Iris future storyline was actually going to happen on the show. He was asked about this because it was something that had happened in the comics, obviously, that people were just curious about in the show. And he said it was going to happen. He just wouldn't specify when. And he also wouldn't specify how as well, I think as well. I know he didn't specify when exactly. He wouldn't specify that at all, which made sense. He's not going to spoil it, is he? Now, of course, this comes back to that part from season 6, as I said, it was in like the 3rd or 4th episode, and to me at least, it just seemed to hint at it due to the Eternium particles, which have to do with like the future in some cases as well. It's also connected to some like magical stuff, but in regards to, if it's connected to Iris, you straight up just think, okay, well, it's connected to this stuff in the future. Now, I guess the big question around this is like, could this still happen? And I think it is hard to do it. I thought it was hard going into season 6 that they could do it just because you're later in the show. I think it's easier to do it earlier in the show. Like if you have Iris die, for example, and then they do this storyline where there's, this Iris from the future as well that comes back. That's the easiest time to do it. I think the later you get into the show, the longer it goes on, it makes it even harder to do. And also my biggest issue with doing it was Joe. If Joe wasn't on the show, I would be fine with them doing it. I think it's still a bit later into the show to do it, where it's not the best time to do it, but I'd be fine if they did it. My biggest issue is if they do this Iris in the future, then she's not Joe's daughter, biological daughter. It can cause some tension there. Like, the relationship maybe isn't as genuine. And I know you shouldn't look at it, Barry's relationship with Joe is like a father-son relationship, and that's authentic. But I just think the way that the show's set up, Joe's not any of these like actual biological parents. So it sort of takes away some stuff from Joe. It doesn't ruin the relationship completely. It just takes some stuff away from it. So that's probably my biggest issue. I don't think they will do it. I think it's too late into the show to do it, but I don't know. Prove me wrong, Eric Wallace. Prove me wrong. Do it and just make it good, because it could be cool, but it would have been easier if they set it up in earlier seasons with, say, Iris dying and then like a couple of episodes into the next season, she comes back. So let's just say she died in season 3. Sometime in season 4, she comes back, but she's actually from the future. That would have set it up. But obviously that whole thing connected to Nash in episode 3 or 4. And Tom Cavanagh was actually speaking with Michael Rosenbaum on his Inside of You podcast. I think it was about a couple of months, like 2 months ago, something like that. And Tom Cavanagh actually revealed which of the characters was his favourite to play, and to him there was a clear winner, but this is what Tom Cavanagh had to say. There's H.R. Wells, and he's kind of like, if you know who Owen Wilson is, he's kind of like that. He loves you, man. You're amazing. The Flash is so fast, bro. So that guy's great. And then there's Harry, who hates everybody. Antisocial, heart of gold. That's funny. Sherlock, he's great. Ask me how I'm doing. I'm unbelievable. Her World was also good, but kind of, he's German, so there's a whole bunch of them, and there's no favourite. The reason I'm there is the guy that wears the yellow suit. So that's my favorite thing to do, play the Reverse Flash. Now, the reason I brought that question question in there is because it leads into another interview with another podcast. He did a lot of podcast interviews, and this was during an interview with Fake Doctors, Real Friends, which is like a Scrubs rewatch podcast with a couple of the stars of the show, and obviously Tom Cavanagh was on the show back in the day. But Tom Cavanagh was quizzed on like the ramifications of Crisis, and following the end of the multiverse as we know it, one of the hosts asked, does that mean that Nash Wells is in fact the last living version of, the Wells and like just that character in general, and that Tom Cavanagh has now finished jumping from different role or different version of Wells? And this is what Tom Cavanagh had to say. Here's what's ridiculous about doing a superhero comic show. I run into people like you, and I'm just so inferior with my knowledge. You know more than me. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to play dumb. I understand by listening to you that you have a better grasp of the whole thing than I do. I feel like, as you guys know, when you do a long-running television show, if there needs to be another Wells, there can be another Wells. And I think that's the big thing that a lot of people think is the case. Even though the multiverse, as we know it, was destroyed, it has been rebuilt. So even though the team hasn't tapped into the multiverse again, we know it's out there. They wouldn't have shown like this rebirth, if you want to call it, of the multiverse, if they weren't going to tap into it again. I think they're going to tap into it again. Whether another Wells comes from that is another question in itself. It matters if Tom Cavanagh signs onto the show. As we know, season 7 is going to be the last one for current contracts. So post season 7, we could lose a couple of cast members. So Tom Cavanagh could be one of them. We might see the end of Wells as a character in general. I think he'll stay. I think he likes doing the show enough that he'll stay, but you never know. But the multiverse is out there. If they really feel the need to introduce another Wells, they'll figure out a storyline where they tap into the multiverse, and this new Wells is a repercussion or a result of tapping into that new multiverse. What Earth he's from, I have no idea. They'll probably try and make it an Earth that they'll never touch in regards to another show, or that another show currently resides on, like Earth 2 with Stargirl. But I don't know. I don't think Nash will be the last one. Would you be happy if Nash is the last one? Like the last Wells we're introduced to? Or would you like to meet another one? I know. Let me know. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much to go over with this video. We're going to be getting, as I said, a lot of stuff from DC fandom in regards to Flash, obviously specifically over the next couple of days. So we'll have some stuff to talk about from that. I'm looking forward to it, and of course the trailer and stuff. But if you enjoyed this video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on what we went over and all of that. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.